people don't want to live life. And what I mean by that is that they don't want to commit suicide per se, but they don't get out of bed in the morning and say, let's absolutely do this. Let's, like, something's waiting for me and I want to go and find that thing and I'm excited and this is an adventure. People wake up in the morning and do the same thing, they do their job, which is all fine, but you don't actually have this attitude that life is exciting, that it's an adventure. I'm down. I voluntarily want to live. I was born, like, people think, you were born, you didn't really choose to get born. You're just here and you're like, okay, let's, I guess, got to do this, let's,
Yeah.
People rarely actively want to live life. Welcome to We Need to Talk, where we try to figure out how to find fulfillment in life and reduce dissatisfaction. Listen to this full episode if you'd like to hear what happiness, fulfillment, and meaning in life even constitute. And in regards to semantics, they constitute different concepts. But humans attribute the same thing to happiness, fulfillment, and meaning. It's essentially something that makes them actively, voluntarily want to live life despite the hardship that they need to face or that they are confronted with in life. Furthermore, we discuss what brings us fulfillment in life, and we discuss strategies to live more in the present moment and experience more gratitude. So if you'd like to learn about that, make sure you watch this episode. Enjoy it and don't forget to subscribe. Let's go.
If I may ask, where do you find fulfillment?
I find fulfillment. So let's define fulfillment. It's the kind of a feeling where you're in. Okay, this is super difficult because actually there are three sort of apex goals that are set in life. It's usually like, or not in life, but in our culture, it's like happiness, fulfillment, and meaning. And they're all defined as different things. However, they are often assumed to be the same thing. And fulfillment is, I'm not good with I don't really know what it means because I don't think about it like that, but I'd say meaning. If I have meaning in life, and that's more when I feel like it's a feeling, actually. It's where I feel alive and like I am in the process of discovering treasure and something really, really awesome. That's when I find meaning, I would say. It's honestly, conceptually, it's something that makes life worth living, I feel.
Conceptually, yeah.
That's yeah.
If I may just throw in a point, happiness, fulfillment, and the third thing you said was
Meaning.
meaning. Do you think that these are three separate things? Are they the same thing, or could they just be three aspects of the same thing?
So happiness is an emotion. Meaning is the answer to the question of why am I suffering. I think that's the meaning of life. And fulfillment is more of a is this is what I think they mean. And fulfillment is more of a I feel like my life is in balance, or my life is fulfillment. It's sort of, you feel whole, kind of. But they're all mixed up to mean the same thing. It's something that makes life worth living. And I use the definition of the meaning of life for that. It's basically everybody's seeking unconsciously, if not consciously, seeking for something that justifies the difficulty of their life. Of like, why am I studying? Why am I going to this job every day? They want an answer to that question. And the answer is the meaning of life, I think.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And happiness is unsophisticated. I don't want to make this be arrogant about it, but people who think, I strive for happiness in life, they just have not understood first of all, what happiness means, and they don't understand themselves very well, I think. Happiness, first of all, it's an emotion, and emotions don't prevail over longer periods of time.
No, they're not permanent, yeah.
Exactly. So don't strive for that. And it's also lovely to feel sadness and sorrow. It brings like this richness to the experience of life.
Yeah. So given your definition, then would you say you find fulfillment?
I would say I find fulfillment when I learned something about the structure of human nature,
I
of
see.
what it means to be human, physically and spiritually, between the soul, the spirit, and and matter. I would say. So it's really it's mapping out reality that really brings me fulfillment. Yeah,
It's
and
very interesting.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And also feeling love. Now, if you would have heard me 6 months ago use the word love, I'd think, no, if I had heard myself, I think, dude, shut up, dude.
Pursue your passions, huh?
Yeah, but I've realized that once you feel love, life, you can experience the meaning of life, and life makes sense. And it's really the way you experience that. I'm actually writing an essay on it now, and I want to create a lecture series on it also, because it's so important, I think. And
I'm down. I'd attend.
also, and it's love is this feeling of gratitude and letting go of the external and living in your body. It's living in what you are. It's seems a bit wishy-washy when I describe it, but yeah.
No, I understand. I mean, like, if I were to define fulfillment in my own terms, it would sort of be as cheesy. It would be cheesy like that as well.
Uh-huh. Well, what
So,
brings you fulfillment? Apart, I mean,
honest,
like the guild now, but if you
honestly
describe,
speaking, like fulfillment, my definition of fulfillment is where I feel is where my heart feel comfortable, where my heart feels comfortable belonging to.
Mhm.
So basically, like, I know for a fact that this is like it's just a feeling that it's like wholeheartedly that this is what you're supposed to be doing. And I think for me it's not only with projects or with things. Like, the thing is that, like, for me as well, like, it's with the guild as well. I feel fulfillment there. Back in It's with the people who I care about as well. For example, my really good friends who I care about, I find fulfillment in them, and just in the things I enjoy. So basically, things like photography, traveling, these sort of things. I know that that's where my heart belongs, and that's what I find fulfillment in.
Hmm. Oh, dude. But when I talk about now in sort of comparing to your example now, what you just said, with you feel fulfillment when you're doing the things that you feel you should be doing, like, or also like hanging out with friends or experiencing with friends. Do you feel that fits into my definition of you get fulfillment or meaning by doing that thing that justifies the suffering or the pain of life? It's the thing that makes you actually want to live life and like actively live life. And I've talked about this on another episode, I think, where people don't want to live life. And what I mean by that is that they don't want to commit suicide per se, but they don't get out of bed in the morning and say, let's absolutely do this. Let's, like, something's waiting for me and I want to go and find that thing and I'm excited and this is an adventure. People wake up in the morning and do the same thing, they do their job, which is all fine, but you don't actually have this attitude that life is exciting, that it's an adventure. I'm down. I voluntarily want to live. I was born, like, people think, you were born, you didn't really choose to get born. You're just here and you're like, okay, let's, I guess, got to do this, let's, you
Yeah,
know, uh, people rarely actively want to live life.
I think that I used to go through that as well. There was a point in time for a few years I was just sort of just letting things just flow until the end point. Like, I was like, death is inevitable, life is suffering. Let me just sort of go through this day by day and everything. And I feel like that's a very pessimistic view towards life in a sense, because ultimately death is the end goal as well. But the thing is that what I find interesting is the fact that life can be good or bad depending on how we perceive it. And I know that may sound like something that may come out of privilege, but at the same time, like, I feel like just being in the moment every single day is something that sort of helps a lot in dealing with that sort of thing. And I know it may sound cliche as well, but what is being in the moment? I've got things to worry about. And that's true. We all have things to worry about. There's a time and a place. And when you're worrying about things, let the worries flow. Let yourself experience them. And in that sense, in that point, just try and think about what you're enjoying right now? What are you grateful for? These sort of things.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. Like life can be pain and suffering if you want it to be, but life can also be roses and sunshines if you want it to be.
Dude, yes, I agree 100%. The thing is, though, I've heard about this idea that, if you live in the moment and you practice gratitude, you find happiness. I do think gratitude is the key to experiencing the emotion of happiness for sure. Super effective. The thing is, though, you can implement a habit to remind yourself to be grateful, but eventually it will subside. Like you're not going to, it's not an effective long-term solution. It just doesn't work, at least for me. The way you actually find what this idea is talking about, of finding gratitude and finding love and experiencing positive emotions, is you need to take a different approach. And it's an approach where you convince yourself that it's okay to live in the moment and the beauty is in the moment. It's not like reminding yourself, okay, time to be grateful now, 15 minutes, let's go. It's actually finding evidence of the beauty in life and your own value. And the thing with the value is, once you understand that by living in the present, you are creating the best future for yourself, which is kind of like the opposite of what you thought. You were worrying and you were anxious about the future in order to set up your life that will be good for yourself. In order to guarantee a good future and
Yeah,
avoid a bad one.
it's
Actually,
counterintuitive.
yeah, the way you do it is actually by living in the moment and not thinking about the future, kind of like that, which is very. What do you think about that?
It's a lot harder said than done. The thing is, it requires a lot of letting go, especially about like future things. I know it's very easy to worry about some of the big questions in life, and I spent a lot of my late teenagers doing that. What is the meaning of life? What is my purpose? Why am I here? Why was I born in this family? Why do I live in this country? These sort of things. But the thing is that the more time you spend worrying about these sort of things, the less time you have actually making an impact or making a difference in your current state. So I'll give you an example. Um, Okay, a bit of a personal fact about me is that I used to play League of Legends, a video game, and I have on record maybe over 4,000 hours on League of Legends, which is a lot over the course of 5 years, right? The thing is that if you think about it, 4,000 hours, what could I have done instead? I could have learned programming, I could have learned to play the guitar better, I could have done so many other things in those moments. But just because I was always thinking about the big questions, I would distract myself by doing something that may not really have any future benefit for me. I quit playing a year ago, and honestly, since then, I've just seen myself progress so much. And it may not be League of Legends for you. It may be something else. Like you could be just watching Netflix, or you can be like, I don't know, getting high all the time, or it could be something that sort of takes you away from the moment. And I feel like it's a lot easier to just deal with it rather than it is to let it slide. Because like the thing is, it will take time. Obviously, it will take time. Life is not easy, and everyone sort of needs to get confronted with this at some point. But
Dude,
once you deal with it, it just makes it so much easier in the end.
okay, dude, awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Why were you playing so much League of Legends? I mean, FYI, I also played it. Very addictive game.
Very addictive as well, right?
Be careful.
Yeah.
But why are you sort of implying you were playing the game to sedate and sort of hide from these dark thoughts, or?
I would say so, yeah, because like it allows you to sort of experience something in a different, like it allows you to not be yourself for a while, like even if it's even like with anything, just going, maybe I don't know what your distraction method is, but for example, right now when I'm not feeling myself, I want to watch Netflix, escape into a different world, or maybe I don't know, play Rocket League or something, or just like something that doesn't allow you to be in the moment at that time.
Hmm.
And I feel like not confronting that is just a recipe that leads to disaster in the long term.
For sure, 100% agree. My getaway is just blasting my headphones with music, so I don't have to listen to the thoughts.
I do
And
that
but
too as
you're,
well.
yeah, the music is definitely it was a problem. It's decreasing now, thankfully. But I would say That's super interesting. So I mean, the way to solve the problem is obviously to confront it, but it's a painful thing, and it all boils down to kind of it boils down to several things, but one key variable is your ability to undergo pain and delay gratification in some sense. However, in some sense, yes, but also in your teenage years, for example, actually, no, but you can't just stamp it off like that, because in your teenage years, maybe one has to undergo that period of sedating oneself and sort of psychologically drugging oneself out in order to later on reflect on that experience. And I don't know, because not everybody is prepared for what they need for the confrontation at
Of
that point
course.
in their life, right? So
I think this also depends on your ambition as well. So, for example, not everyone is as ambitious to do really great things with them with their lives. Some people are just happy with just, finding an office job or just doing something that they love on a day-to-day basis.
to a degree, yes, but also to a degree, no, I think.
I think it really depends on the person.
I would put it like this. I agree with you, but there are a lot of people who are in that position of, let's say, a very quiet life, who would thrive if they unlocked themselves, if they unlocked that character in the game by, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It all comes down to willingness, I think. I feel like you need to be willing to be able to do that. I'm not entirely sure, but that's just my perspective.
Sure, it requires willpower to a degree. I mean, there are so many variables in the mix, like depending on what support system you have, what kind of an environment you grew up in, a lot of things. If you're traumatized, if you have trauma, there's a lot of things in the mix. Mm, but yeah, dope. Okay, I want to ask you the next question.
Sure.
I'm just gonna pull it up. Oh yeah, if you could broadcast a 30-second message to the whole of humanity in one go, what would you say?